Well, hello everybody. I'm Gordon from the Board Game Barrister. I'm here today with fellow barristers Glenn, Jess, and Elizabeth. And here are our takeaways from Sea Salt and Paper. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Sea Salt and Paper by Pandasaurus Games, a delightful little card game about ocean scenes represented by origami. To get our game started, we're going to shuffle up this deck, and then flip the top two cards to create our starting discard piles, and we're ready to go. Now the first thing each player is going to do on their turn is to add one more card to their hand. There's two different ways you can add that card. You can just take one of the cards you can see on top of the discard piles here, or you can look at the top two cards of the deck, choose one of those to secretly add to your hand, and then add the other one on top of one of the current discards. And a lot of the time, that's your entire turn. The cards in your hand matter a lot because you're going to be collecting sets and groups that can score you points at the end of the round. Like if I manage to collect these 3 penguin cards here, you can see here this says that 1 penguin's worth 1 point, 2's worth 3, and all 3 of these are worth 5 points. And if I get really lucky and I also get the penguin colony card, that's worth 2 more points per penguin, so all my penguins suddenly become worth 11. So that's one of the things you're looking for, is just sets of cards that'll score you a bunch of points at the end of the round. The other thing you might look for is duo cards, and there's 4 different types of duos you can use to have special effects in the game. A pair of crabs will let me choose a discard pile, look through that discard pile, and then choose a card in there to add into my hand, so that means I get to add an extra card into my hand that turn. 2 boats actually lets me take another turn immediately after this one. 2 fish means I just get to grab the first card on the deck and add that into my hand. And a combination of a swimmer plus a shark means you get to choose another player at the table and randomly take one of the cards in their hand to add into your own. So that's the 4 types of duo cards. If you have any duo effects you want to activate on your turn, that's the second thing you'll do after adding 1 card to your hand. To do it, you're just going to show the pair of cards you want to use, put them face down in front of yourself for the rest of the round, and then activate that effect. And the last type of card that's going to come up are the mermaids. Mermaids are worth 1 point for every card in the color you have the most of. So at the end of the round, if you had the most green cards with 4 green cards, this mermaid is worth 4 points. And actually, if you happen to collect all 4 mermaids in the deck in a single round, you just win the entire game immediately, so watch for other people grabbing mermaids. We're going to keep going around, grabbing 1 card from either the discards or the deck, and then maybe activating a duo effect, until one player chooses to end the round. Now in order to end the round, a player has to have 7 points represented between all the cards in their hand and all the cards they've already shown. And there's actually 2 ways you can end the round. One of them is to just say stop. This is kind of the safe way to go. It means that immediately the round's going to end and everybody at the table is going to score as many points as they have between their hand and the cards in front of them. But if you want to take a little bit of a risk, you can say last chance instead, which is basically you saying, I believe I have more points right now than anybody else could possibly score by the end of their next turn. When you do this, everybody else at the table except you gets to take 1 more turn and then show their score at the end of their turn. Now if your risk pays off, meaning nobody else was able to score as many points as you by the end of their turn, then you get to score a color bonus in addition to your normal points for the round. The color bonus is 1 extra point for each card in the color you have the most of. So again, kind of like that mermaid, if you had the most green with 4 cards, you'd score all your points normally plus a bonus 4 points. To add insult to injury, all the other players at the table only get to score the color bonus and don't score any points for their hand this round. But if you were a little too risky and somebody else is able to outscore you, that's real bad for you. Everybody else at the table scores totally normally, but you only get your color bonus this round, so you lose out on all the points from your hand. We'll keep adding up our points from each round until somebody crosses the threshold of victory. That's 40 points with 2 players, 35 points with 3 players, or 30 points with 4 players. And if anybody ever crosses that threshold, that's the end of the game. We're going to see who has the most total points. They're our winner. And of course, like I already mentioned, if somebody happens to collect all 4 mermaids in the interim, they win the game immediately.
Alright, so we just finished our game of Sea Salt and Paper. It was my first time playing. Elizabeth, your first time playing. Jess and Glenn have played before. It plays from 2 to 4 players. We played with 4. It was fantastic at 4. And we ended up playing 3 hands before Glenn won, and that probably took 30-ish minutes thereabouts. Yeah. So that's about what you can expect from that. It was great with 4. For those who played before, how does it play at 2 and 3?
I really like it. At just 2 players, I tend to play a little bit on the lower end, so just having that nice quick back and forth between you and your fellow player, but because you have a lot more cards between the 2 of you, you can score a lot more points in that one round, so you find yourself taking a lot more risks too.
Yeah, because when you're playing, you have the opportunity to just end the round or give people one last chance, and just because you have enough points to end, it doesn't mean you need to. Right. So you can keep trying to push it for more.
Yep.
I love the fact it's all origami art. Every card is different, so everyone has its own little unique pictures. I don't know if are the mermaids
the
different?
mermaid are
the mermaids
the
are the
only
only
ones.
ones that are the same, but all the rest of them, every boat's a little different, every fish a little different, every crab, and it really adds a nice little touch to the game that I think is just really cool, because I like looking at all the little pictures.
And yet the icons in the tops of the cards really kind of help you work through the game once you understand what the iconography means, which is really straightforward, and then you get the pretty art to go along with it.
And the other thing about the icons in that upper corner, there is a little square or shape that will actually let you know what color each card is in case you have someone colorblind at your table or you can't quite parse that out.
So one of the neat things about Sea Salt and Paper is that you get to decide on your turn, once you have hit a threshold number of points, whether you want to end the game, whether you want to keep going, or whether you want to give everyone one last chance before the game ends. And in my opening hand, I did just that. I thought I had plenty of points. I didn't really know. Some other people did. And I gave everyone one last chance when I definitely shouldn't have, and it cost me a ton of points in the game. All right, last chance, everybody. Last chance.
Okay, all right.
Wow, that's a bold move.
You think you have the most points.
1, 2, 3,
4, 5.
4, 5, 8, 9, 13.
14.
Oh!
Yeah, I like how the game is incredibly interactive, both with my decision of do I want to end it, because it's not just based on a me decision, it's based on what do I think you've all, so it's almost like a blackjack situation where I want to know what I think everybody else has. However, the playing of cards is also very, very interactive because it's directly impacting what you have access to when I decide what to keep and what to discard. And I found that very, very interesting. It is hilarious to watch people's reactions to the discards.
Yeah.
Oh, you suck. Okay. Fine.
Oh
I'm so mad.
I'll take the octopus.
So mad.
All right, well, thank you very much. That about does it for Sea Salt and Paper. We had a great time playing. Hope you had a great time watching. We'll see you all next time.